Well, back in mid-September when Apple announced the new iPhone 13, they also announced the Apple Watch Series 7. And they said it had come late in fall, which means late in spring our time. Well, it's come, I think, earlier than expected and is available as of Friday this week. Pre-orders already started last week. So let's take a look at the Apple Watch Series 7. The thing about the Apple Watch is it hasn't actually changed visually that much over the many years it's been out. But incrementally, they're getting closer and closer to, I guess, what you described as the ultimate smartwatch experience. They're a long way from replicating the watch experience because, it still doesn't look like a traditional watch. But if you think about the fact that there are actually square watches and have been for many years, perhaps that traditional round watch face is something that Apple doesn't need to aspire to. But what they've done here with the new Apple Watch is pretty impressive. The screen size alone will blow you away. Now, the actual physical watch is barely bigger than the Series 6. It is bigger, but not noticeably. On the wrist, I haven't noticed at all that I'm wearing a bigger watch. The screen itself, though, is enormous compared to previous generations. And if you go back to, say, the Series 3, which had a very square-edged screen within the Apple Watch itself, you realize how far you've come. So let's have a look at how the screen looks now on the Series 7. It's a big screen, and the portrait photo watch face that I've got going on here is the best way to essentially see that size difference. So if you look here at the size there, it's probably not the best photo because there's a bit of darkness in it, but if we flick through a couple of these, look at that, very bright, and you can see just how far towards the edge the screen is now going. And you get a real sense of the size of it, the scale of it, when you're using this portrait watch face. Now, the portrait watch face is actually one of my favorites because it takes, if you find the right photo, I'll flick through a few here, but if you find the right photo where you've got a very clear foreground and background, so the kid's there in the foreground, if you manipulate the digital crown, you can actually bring them out of the photo, kind of like a three-dimensional photo, and the clock sits behind the foreground object, kind of like a magazine cover banner with the portrait art on the front. It's a very nice watch face. New watch faces to the Apple Watch, there are a few, but the one that probably gets the most attention is this one here. It has this intriguing look because basically what they've done is they've put around every part of the, look, they've got to do my watch review. Every part of the watch has the numbers on it, but they're expanded. So if you again, you scroll through, you can see how the time would change during the day depending on the hour, the highlight, the bolder font, the bigger font. Look, the reason for this watch face is because they want to show that you can kind of see the watch time and you can see what's happening on a very slight angle. It's a good demonstration of how far the screen fits and reaches into the watch. That's not my favorite watch face. In fact, I prefer just a standard everyday watch face, I'll be honest. But using this watch face doesn't really give you the sense of the big screen, which is why I pretty much always end up back at the portrait photo gallery because it is the best way to represent that you're wearing a smartwatch and that you've got that interactivity. Honestly, aside from the size of that screen, aside from what you've got there, there's a couple of big differences. Firstly, colors. So this one here, you can only barely see, I think, in the light, is green. So there's a range of new colors now from the red to the blue. It's a lighter blue this year. And I think the colors are a nice way to give yourself a bit of personality in your watch. Obviously, I've got a slightly matching band here. There's obviously a range of colors that you can get. There's the traditional silicon band, and this is the solo loop. So there's no latch at all. You just literally loop that over your wrist. I don't find that one the most comfortable. Maybe I need to go down a size, but then I like the idea of just every now and then just loosening it a bit. Sometimes you want it looser, sometimes you want it tighter. Maybe that's just me. But with the bigger watch face comes one very impressive, but I'm not sure entirely useful new feature. So let's have a look here at a message. We'll compose a new message. And so the thing here is in the creating of the message, yeah, you've got all your standard little messages, but if we tap in here, we've now got a full QWERTY keyboard. Now you can type here, hello, there, and you know what, it's pretty accurate because it's using a bit of smarts to go, I think he wants to say that. Let's go, how, see the autocorrect, you. But most importantly, we can also quick type or swipe type as we also know it. This Here's me. Swipe. Whoops, see, that didn't work. Oh, see, now this is where you get lost. You're like, I can't see. I don't know what's going on. The delete button's back there. Swipe. Nope, doesn't like that word. It's very hard. Honestly, I get it. They can do it. It makes the point of the bigger screen, but I'm not doing it. Like every time I've got a message, I've found one of the auto responses is good enough. Yes, sure, thanks, no problem, those kind of things. That's what you want from a watch. So while it's there, it's not something you really, really need. In everyday use, there's some new fitness features. There's a lot of that stuff going on, but I think the critical thing here is everything is just that little bit easier because it's that little bit bigger. So things like the alarm. Let's add an alarm here. You've just got more access. You've got bigger dials. You've got everything going on. So what time should we wake up tomorrow? Let's go with, not 5. Let's go with 6. And we'll scroll back a bit here. And then okay. So the buttons are bigger. Everything's just that little bit bigger. And while it sounds ridiculous to have a couple of millimeters extra, that's a big percentage gain that you're getting from the Apple Watch. Everything else is pretty much the same because it has all the same health features. Your ECG, everything's now available. I do love this dark green. It's dark enough that it doesn't look bright green, and so you don't kind of look leery. Although you notice here this watch band has kind of blue tinges in the connector, so it kind of doesn't work, doesn't fit. But you don't notice that. I think the colours are the win for the Series 7, and I don't think that. And let's be clear. A lot of people always ask with phones and with the watches, should I upgrade from the Series 6? Absolutely not. That'd be madness. But you know, anything before the 6, this is going to be a big leap forward. I haven't felt a leap forward in the watch since Series 5 when they had the always-on display. Now, you'll see there, this is the always-on display. It's just slightly darker, but it's actually a little bit brighter now than it has been previous years. So they've got a bigger screen, a brighter screen, but the battery life retains its normal life. If you look at this here, it's nearly midnight. I've been up since 3 a.m. It's 23% battery. I charged it before this review. I added 10% to it because I was down at 13 and I didn't want it to give me warnings during the video. So in a 20-hour period, I got it down to about 10 to 12%. Pretty darn good battery life. It's an all-day battery. You're not needing to charge within the day, definitely, but this is not a 2-day battery, and I've never found it to be as such. You've got to find those moments to charge, and that's still my biggest problem with smartwatches generally, is if you want to use them for sleep tracking, you've got to find a moment where you can get charging. Now, quick charging is better. There's faster charging this year with the included wireless charger, but it's not like in 10 minutes you're going to get a full charge. So it's not shower charging time. You need to find a couple of moments of charge during your day if you're going to use it in sleep and in the daytime. I think that it is just spectacular. The size of that watch face really is the standout feature of the Series 7. Very impressive stuff. Price though, $599 starting point. When you compare that to Samsung, who have watches at $299, $399 and upwards, you are paying a big premium to be in this high-level Series 7. $599 starting point, $699 for the 46mm, and when you throw in the LTE or the 4G connectivity, you end up with this one here in the larger size, in the coloured stainless steel, is a $799 watch. That's not cheap. You've still got to argue that maybe the SE and the series that are still available are just as good value. If you're deep in the Apple ecosystem, the Series 7 is for you. It's a great upgrade, and I can see a lot of people who have existing Apple Watches finally taking the time to do the upgrade.